you by introducing yourselves to all of us, and we'll start the clock when your performance actually starts.
Hello, I'm Juliana Rodriguez.
I'm Emily Strickland.
I'm Max Bueno.
I'm Joseph Zarif.
I'm Samantha Gilbert.
And title of your project?
Alexander Hamilton explores the financial system for the new nation of America. Oh, welcome. Welcome. Welcome to Francis Tavern. Today, I will be your server. It is 1790 and the Constitution was ratified 2 years ago by the United States. President George Washington appointed Alexander Hamilton as the first Secretary of the Treasury. Hamilton wrote about the disorganized financial system, and he created a plan that would pay back the nation's debt through the United States government. Hamilton felt strongly about his plan. However, he was to be opposed by the Jeffersonians, or the followers of Jefferson, also known as the Republicans. They felt that the tariffs in Hamilton's financial plan were unfair and unconstitutional. This was because they had a very strict interpretation of the Constitution. On the other hand, the Federalists, or the followers of Alexander Hamilton, had a very loose interpretation of the Constitution. Many Southerners disagreed with Hamilton's financial plan. This was because they had already paid back their debt. They felt that it was unfair that they had to repay the North's debt through tax. Many financial solution ideas were exchanged between the leaders of the North and of the South.
Look at this. This is our nation's debt.
Let me see this. Hamilton hand wrote this. He understands it more than anyone, and there is no one better to fix it than someone who knows it inside and out.
How does this prove anything?
How does this not show how well he knows our financial system and debt?
Hamilton's financial plan consisted of three main parts. It would place tariffs on imported goods, establish a national bank, and pay back the national debt.
Our government will finally be able to pay back the debts we owe and save the nation some money with the national bank. Our central government will become much stronger.
I agree. I like Hamilton's plan. Have you heard about the rubbish Jefferson speaks of? He doesn't even have a plan, yet he criticizes Hamilton. He thinks we're becoming a monarchy. Tell me, how are we becoming a monarchy when our states still govern themselves and each has representation in the national government? We're becoming strong and united as one nation.
Perhaps Hamilton's plan is rubbish. We fought for our freedom and we are now becoming a monarchy again. That is nonsense. The government will steal all of our rights. Our freedom of religion, speech, press, and assembly.
But also our right to petition and our right to bear arms.
Jefferson is the smart one. At least he believes we should have the political rights we deserve. Nowhere in the Constitution does it support a national bank. Hamilton will place tariffs on us. Nonsense.
Us Southerners have already paid back our state debts with money we have rightfully made from growing and selling crops. Now tell me, why should we help pay off other people's debts when we have already paid back ours?
First of all, if you're planning on even getting some of the money back that you would loan, then Hamilton's plan will help you get that money back. And I hope you're aware that we are now one nation and we are not divided as North and South.
The dispute encounters continued until the introduction of Hamilton's financial plan in the Compromise of 1790. The compromise was made between Alexander Hamilton, Thomas Jefferson, and James Madison, all three important founding fathers in the creation of America. Under the Compromise of 1790, after 10 years in Philadelphia, the nation's capital would be moved to the Potomac River, Maryland. It was under these conditions that Hamilton's financial plan would be implemented. A national bank would be established, and the nation's debt would be paid back.
What about the compromise that's been made? Are you still against Hamilton's plan now that you've gotten what you wanted? The plan is set. You have the capital. How should one small compromise make up for a plan that will greatly impact us for the rest of our lives?
Not only our lives, but the lives of millions, our children's lives, the lives of many more generations to come.
You think that a national bank and paying back debts won't help us at all?
This is the greatest idea brought to our nation since the Declaration of Independence.
Maybe you could convince me to support Hamilton's plan if the payment of state bonds were going to the people who originally lent money to the cause. Sadly, out of fear that the states would not pay them back, they have sold their bonds to speculators for a fraction of the face value.
So why should we be paying our hard-earned money to speculators who are taking advantage of the financial crisis of our new nation?
The Northern Patriot has already lost his money. The Southern gentlemen have already paid their state debts.
The only winner in Hamilton's consolidated state debt into federal debt scheme are the wealthy speculators.
Under Hamilton's plan, the rich get richer at the expense of the Southerners.
But the country is the real winner. We become a stronger, more united nation, and we establish ourselves as a nation who pays back our debts to the rest of the world. This will make it easier and cheaper to borrow money in the future.
You Federalists can think what you want, but it won't change how we feel about Hamilton's plan.
Have fun with that. We are the smart ones, and we know what we are doing.
The Republicans and Federalists both went their separate ways. It is now 1795, 5 years later. We meet up again at Fraunces Tavern. Their lives were both changed in good and bad ways due to Hamilton's financial plan.
Who would be so foolish to do something like this? Please explain to me what the Whiskey Rebellion is.
I agree. Who in their right mind would protest over something as small as tax on whiskey?
In order to start paying off the debt, Hamilton's financial plan required a 25% excise tax on the sale or use of whiskey. Many Southern farmers depended on the production of whiskey to make a living. Due to this, they did not pay back the tax and they rebelled. This was later known as the Whiskey Rebellion. One of the battles that sparked a lot of anger was the Battle of Bower Hill. In the Battle of Bower Hill, two Southern farmers, Oliver Miller Jr. and James McFarland, were both shot and killed after burning down the house of General John Neville, a tax collector appointed by George Washington. In the Battle of Bower Hill, someone inside the house supposedly waved the surrender flag, and James McFarland and Oliver Miller Jr. came out into the open and were both shot and killed.
You Federalists won't understand why we rebel. We work hard to produce some of the food that you eat every day, including the whiskey you drink. Nowhere, Hamilton's tax is outrageous.
We were defending our tax collector. On our behalf, you have been tarring and feathering any tax collector in your way and burning down their houses.
Do you not realize the consequences it could have caused if President Washington hadn't pardoned your leaders of the Whiskey Rebellion? They would have all been killed and our nation would have crumbled.
All we were trying to do was fight for what we believe. Placing a tax on whiskey is absurd. Hamilton's foolish plan will not help our economy at all. Of course, you Federalists wouldn't understand. As merchants, you take everything for granted. All you do is sell goods. But what you don't know is that some of the goods that you sell are things we make.
Enough! It is obvious we cannot come to an agreement, so why waste our time arguing?
She is right. We must come to our senses.
Right now, we cannot change what has been done.
Although the factions still disagreed about Hamilton's financial plan, his encounter for a financial solution saved the new nation of America.
What did Alexander Hamilton do? He changed the way the American government runs today.
He was a strong Federalist who supported a strong central government.
After the war, we owed $56 million in bonds and needed to pay the investors their money back.
The solution to our debt was the acceptance of Hamilton's forward-thinking three-part financial plan. It encountered opposition from the government, especially many Republicans and followers of Jefferson, but his creation of a national bank.
He was not only the one who created our financial system from scratch, but he also explored many ideas of how to come to the solution to approach the disorganized financial system, including his three-part plan.
Today, a strong economy flourishes in America because of Alexander Hamilton's encounter of the new government.
Alexander Hamilton, by all measures, would be one of the most important founding fathers of America.
So, what turns you on to Alexander Hamilton?
The Hamilton musical really got us engaged with Alexander Hamilton and his financial plan.
And also Ron Chernow biography. I read that. It kind of like sparked our interest towards the topic.
And in history class, we started listening to the music from Hamilton. And, well, that's actually our history teacher. His daughter discovered the music was helpful to what we were learning in history class. And we really got interested in it. We decided to do a performance because of also the Hamilton music.
So what was the most exciting part of your research?
Probably to find out that he created pretty much our financial system from scratch, and without it, we probably wouldn't be able to pay back debts.
And he was an immigrant. He came. Yeah, he had.
You all can have a chance to answer this question. You'll all get your turn.
He came to this country as an immigrant, and he was very poor, but he was really smart. And all he did was write his way out of things, and soon he was really persuasive, and he got his financial plan into Congress.
You were about to say something.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say he was an orphan, and he was really smart, and he was determined to get an education, and he wanted to go forth in life.
A quote from Ron Chernow's biography said, Hamilton had a superhuman work ethic. And I really think that kind of applied to us, how we had to like search through all the Federalist Papers from the 1800s, and it wasn't easy because we had to go through archives in the Connecticut Public Library, and eventually we found the original documents, and we used a lot of it to help us with our performance.
Also, he had many like problems in his life, personal and political, with Aaron Burr and his wife and affairs. So that really interested us.
How did you guys decide who would do what?
We had written our script first, and we really had known that we really wanted like 2 Federalists and 2 Republicans, so that they could have argument, and there would be 2 followers of Jefferson and 2 followers of Hamilton. And after we had written the lines, we kind of like fit the parts with who would best.
And we decided it would be in a restaurant because Hamilton and Jefferson and Madison made the compromise in a restaurant, which is Francis Tavern.
Yeah.
We did some research and we found out that was a restaurant.
How are we on time?
Yeah, 6 minutes.
Oh, great, we have a little bit of time. So is there anything you'd love to help us understand about the process? Things that you found particularly challenging? Maybe how you overcame it, like making that turkey, for instance?
We had trouble finding an interview. First, we tried to contact Lin-Manuel Miranda, but after he didn't answer for a long time, we realized that he had a pretty full schedule as a famous actor.
It was a long shot for us. We knew we wouldn't get Lin-Manuel Miranda. With his elevated status since the Hamilton musical, there's really no way we could get to him.
And we tried to be more realistic, so we contacted a couple professors at American history professors up at Yale University, but sadly they didn't respond.
Try shoe next time.
Or Fairfield? You were going to say something, I think.
Oh, I was just going to say Lin-Manuel Miranda was the one who created the Hamilton musical. And Ron Chernow's book inspired him to create the Hamilton musical, so we took that and we read that to help us.
Also, one of the more challenging things was memorizing our lines. It's only 10 minutes long, but memorizing it was a big part. And
Especially for him.
Yeah.
He had big paragraphs as the narrator.
And how we switch parts.
Yeah.
Well, a week before, we presented it to our history teacher, who also helps in History Day with Mrs. Wodarczyk. And we found out that we had to make a few changes. So everything this week is all we had to memorize everything this week because we had to change parts.
Yeah. I was originally.
Because we realized there was better parts. She was originally the narrator, but
And I was originally the Republican number 2.
So, me and Max just switched parts because he had to memorize all of them.
How did you decide about your costumes?
well, we had difficulty finding costumes because they were all out of stock and all. But but finally we found them on California.
Yeah. Well, for me, it wasn't too hard because I've been to restaurants. So.
And also, we wanted to make me and Sam, since we're Federalist, the upper class, and them as the farmers.
We were negotiating if they would have shoes or not, but we gave them shoes.
Thank you all. Thank you so much.